Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 9 of TechTeenth Podcast. I'm Janita.
I'm Charles.
And I'm Otis.
Welcome. All right, Charles is back.
I know you act like you ain't been here before.
I know, man. It's been a while. It's been a little minute. Yeah, I know.
We miss you, man.
For the last couple episodes, if you guys haven't seen me, I've been taking care of business, family, work, all the things. So just, come back with vibe, ready to go. That's what it's all black. I'm ready to kill today. Let's go.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Back, man. We missed you, my boy.
Yeah.
We missed you.
So.
Here we go. Well, today we want to talk to you guys. A couple episodes ago, we talked a bit about we mentioned in an episode about kids in this new day and age, especially with tech, AI. So today we're actually going to dive in to AI and how it shows up specifically in like adolescent children, this early learning phase that they have. So as I was preparing for this episode, I was thinking like, imagine if we had AI when we were younger.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
And it helped us to learn back in the day. Do you think it would have helped us or confused us more?
It would have made me lazier.
Jeez.
I would have procrastinated even more. It would have made me worse. I think I've been a worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we had so much introduced to us already with, again, go back to the chat rooms and just talking on the phone. We were trying to still learn and navigate ourselves. And then you add on another component like that. I think it's just overload, overkill.
But I think, like, are you saying in the sense of like we would grow up to like we were born to like now versus?
No, I mean, I'm just saying
because he's saying like old technology with AI.
We just had a Sega,
or is it
and a PlayStation.
Today's technology, but we were younger.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have had to deal with the phone and stuff you talking about. Because we would have had cell phone. We talking about being a kid today.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't like it.
Really? Okay.
I think it would enable me to be lazy.
So I feel like while I was looking into things for this episode, what I realized is I do think we're very quick. We're doing the thing that I think our parents did with us with like video games and being on the computer a little bit. Because as I dove into it, I think we automatically think, because we're adults, we think about how to game the system. Right. And it's not to say that kids don't get there eventually. Right. I'm not going to like bail them out that much. But when I was looking into it, it actually can help a lot to basically learn the education level of the student and basically real time change to make sure that it's focusing on where a child needs help, instead of some of those repetitive programs that do help, with kids' education. So I think we're thinking like LLM, where you put in a prompt and you get something back. But what we're not thinking about is what happens if a child goes on and they're trying to learn how to read. Right. And the program can actually tell, because of the voice, reading out loud, what words they get tripped up on, what stories and maybe in points of reading comprehension that they need help. So it can automatically adjust, instead of what we kind of knew even at our best technology, or maybe what we've experienced is like, okay, it's first grade reading. This is the limitations of this program. We walk them through steps 1 through 10, and then they go to the next thing.
So you're talking about like adaptive and customized learning, so to speak, right? Learning. Personalized learning.
Yeah.
Right? So to
generative
speak.
AI.
Versus like how we grew up. We all read the same textbook, had the same test, had the same SATs. It wasn't adaptive, right?
Right.
Or personalized, like you said.
So you're talking about what teachers do, right? So teachers are going in there to assess what the student is, maybe give them some specialized training. I think so much happens as a kid that they deal with, of why they don't learn or learn as fast. And now you're saying this AI is going to be able to now diagnose this kid if they have some type of dyslexia or anything else. Or
just also help them propel at a pace that they're in. So something that I've already experienced, thankfully, I'll brag. What else do parents do? My daughter reads 2 levels above technically 3 now. So 3 levels above where she is. And what I experienced in her last grade was, depending on where the class is as a whole, depends on how much the teacher can push at some point in time, because you can't get too far ahead, but you also can't stall too far behind. So where I think this helps is for me as a parent, if I want to continue to make sure that she is challenged, I can have something like I looked it up, Khan Academy and Khan Mingo, where it's like, hey, you can have your own tutor at home, so we don't have to dial it back for the other students in your class. Or if she was on the other end where it's like, hey, we really need you to pick it up, I can utilize something to actually help her progress forward in a way that I don't have to be a teacher. So I'm thinking about it a little bit less of like how teachers can use it too, but how can we use it to help enrich our kids?
They actually have it in Ghana. I read studying for our topics. They have what you're talking about. They have personalized learning platforms for their students. Because to your point, every child is at a different learning level. They learn differently. So I think it was called Rory Tutor, RORI, Rory Tutor in Ghana. Ghana's ahead of the game a little bit with that because I haven't seen that across the board anywhere. But I know there's stuff like Duolingo has the Duolingo ABC. This platform called Zern I was reading about for K through 6. So there are platforms, AI-enabled platforms out there that'll give you personalized tutors, personalized curriculums, platform that allow your student or children to, have their own personalized learning.
See, I would argue, how are they so far ahead of the game when we have hooked on phonics, right? we forget about those. We forget about those simplistic tools that we had. It wasn't AI, but it was to help you, at least catch up to speed to where you're supposed to be from a reading level perspective. Do
you know anybody who's hooked on phonics though? I don't know one person.
I was just about to say, I wonder
a couple of kids that should have been hooked on phonics when I was growing up. But
they should have built
yeah.
Oh no, anybody actually used it.
Me either. And I was about to say, but are we talking from a place of maybe like educational privilege of like if we never needed it, we might not understand how important it was or how much it could have helped or not? Because I think that's the other thing that I'm trying to clue in with maybe reshaping our thoughts around it, our audience's thoughts around how it can help is not just starting from, well, they'll cheat and like, it's like, no, maybe there are actually systems that can help people who might need today's hooked on phonics, but it's like, maybe they were dyslexic and they actually didn't need help with books, hooked on phonics or something else.
So I guess a question is, when do you actually introduce it to a kindergartner or a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, right? So do you introduce it, take it away, introduce it again? AI, more technology, right? Again, right now, we said we have these COVID babies starting kindergarten for the first time this year, right? And there's another generation above them where it's like, these kids are weird because they don't have the human interaction. We're just adding more things for them not to interact. Social. Yeah, be social. And I think the human interaction is going to be so much more valuable in the future. We already know what it is now as adults, or we are in our careers. Now we're just kind of teaching them to still go utilize this tool versus going to a person.
I think that's where extracurricular sports and karate and other things give you that social aspect. Like you could be in school and be using technology all day, every day. You can speak from experience.
I'm going to speak on something right now where we see it in the middle schools here, even in Georgia, where there are not a lot of football teams or they don't have enough people to come out and play anymore. Oh. And not just because of the safety of it, because kids aren't interested anymore.
Oh.
So, because the goal is not to become a pro NBA player, a pro NFL player anymore. It's to be a YouTuber. It's to be a streamer. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when you compare the generational differences of what you aspire to be, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, musical theater is down and singing, like, because for us, that was, especially for the Black community, it's like, that's the way you make a lot of money is you become an athlete or you are a performer.
Movie star.
Yeah. Where now it's like, oh, if I don't have to get beat up and I don't have to, exert a whole bunch of energy. I can
do it from my home. I ain't got to go outside.
Yeah.
And I can make more than an athlete.
So
streamers make more than athletes.
Well, successful ones. I was about to say
that's many streamers out here doing
that. Well, there are also athletes who make $500,000 a year that play in the NFL. So it's a range.
That too.
And they play for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But I think coming back to the little kids, to your question about when do you introduce it, when you not, I kind of do lean more on the thought of when I'm thinking about AI, I'm not thinking about something where my child thinks of it as AI. It's a game. It's a tutor. It's not something that like, I'm not introducing, hey, this is how you can now draw. I would probably limit some of the creative things that I do think could then inhibit where her mind can go, unless let's say she draws something insane, right? And then I'm like, hey, do you want to make this a comic book? Or do you want to make this into something? I think there are ways that you can allow to introduce that it acts as what I think we would hope this generation would look at AI as, which actually begs another question for you guys. Now I'm thinking about it. Do you think we view AI as a way to cheat because that's how we use it? Because we had to do everything from scratch, and now we have something that can basically, we can, I don't know how I can get this right way, but it's like we can associate the time saving. We can associate the help with, you know, those things. Like that's something that we can do versus for a younger generation, if they are, to your point, Charles, like introduced to it correctly or in a way that it's at least introduced as an assistant. Do you think that that actually does impact kind of our overall view on like, it's bad, you know?
I don't feel like I use it to cheat. I use it as a tool
To expedite.
To help me do things faster, expedite, but like to like just reach resources that I couldn't get with just a Google search, right?
Right. And maybe I should rephrase. I didn't mean cheat.
No, some people are cheating.
But
Some
I'm
people are definitely
saying
cheating with it.
our vision of it when we put it on kids automatically is shortcut, is cheat.
Shortcut.
Sorry, that's what I mean.
Like
they're shortcutting their thinking, right? So your brain is a muscle. We go to the gym, we work out, we do all these type of things, but our brain is probably our most important muscle for our body, probably outside of our heart, right? So you have your brain and your heart to keep you moving, to keep you thinking. If you're not utilizing that and understanding of what you're using it for, then that's my pushback.
I have a little bit of rebuttal though. What's the difference between what you're saying and maybe somebody back in the day being like, hey, I mean, there are a bunch of things that we do that are arbitrary now, right? Yeah. We had to learn how to write. We had to learn how to write in cursive. Serves us none. Like in no situation at this point in our lives does it actually help us that we learned how. That's time spent.
Yeah,
that's one time.
You write checks?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're 85 years old.
Old man Jones over here.
Old man Jones.
So you got to go get the money order some. I save time writing checks.
No,
okay,
I got a lot more time.
But but still, that's one thing, right? What I'm saying is you don't need to though. Like if the time that I spent when I was a kid worrying about how good my penmanship was, that's not even a thing nowadays. Like it's not really a thing between that and also knowing how to do math, writing it down. Like what is the purpose of it? And when you really think about it, unless you plan on going into something down the line that deals with finances. So I do think that it's again, like that question of, is it just because we know a different world that we attribute those skills? Like now the personal communication skills, I'm 1000%. You can't learn that without being the emotional, the socio, like how you actually talk to people, socioeconomics, like certain things you have to live to understand. You can't get that here.
So we're talking about sports, right? So a big piece of math that helped me out was geometry, angles. If you're playing basketball, football, or any type of thing that desires you chasing, it's all about angles too, though. So it just makes sense. Now, can it come in overtime with practice? But I just feel like if going back even to the math thing, if we're going, 1 + 1 = 2, understanding of what that number is and how it operates in the background to do bigger and more complex equations is fine. But it's like, what is that foundation? And I think if you're introducing these AI tools and taking away like that critical thinking, what is that long-term impact? And that's what we don't know yet. I think we see enough of it now with some of these kids now where they sit there and they just stare at each other because they've been on tablets. Yes, they're learning, they're playing games, but like, are they truly learning though? What is learning at this point now? Is it memorization or somebody telling you to do something, you're just regurgitating it now?
Or copy and pasting out of a chat and put it in.
But again, we're only thinking about it as a LLM. That's what I'm trying to make sure we don't just go back to how we might use it, but like how AI, so, taking us back to, I can't remember which episode it was specifically, but like knowing that AI shows up everywhere, right? So it's not just in a large language model. It is like adaptive learning. There are other things that I think that's what made me kind of open my mind to maybe this isn't the worst thing. There are opportunities for it to be the worst thing for sure, like anything else. But I'm interested to see how this actually can help. Again, back to like enhancing people's creativity. It's no different than when we were young and then all of a sudden you got Adobe that popped up and it's like, oh, okay, I can actually make what I drew something on the computer. Like there are great things that can come with that too, of like, oh, okay, now I can publish more things. Oh, now I can animate, like things that they may not need to have additional education to stop that, like to be a barrier for them to get some of the things that they would like to do.
So
is it instant gratification to that question? I'll let you go because you're not kind of learning.
Well, no.
But it is instant gratification.
No,
they don't have to go around they can get it right then and there. The
assumption though is that it'll take one prompt to get exactly what you need, which we know is not the case. You're going to have to continue to learn. That means now you have to have some critical thinking to know, how do I describe what I would like to see? How can I make sure? Because have you guys used Gemini VO or Artlist or anything where it's like you have to put in a prompt to try and create a picture?
I've given up a lot of times.
It is hard.
I've given up.
It's not easy. So I feel like there are things that we are negating that do go into the process of actually perfecting prompts, AI, because Lord knows I put a picture of myself in ChatGPT and was like, put me on a beach. Whoever they put on a beach was not me. It wasn't me. And I gave them a reference point. Jazz. Jazz.
They're a white woman.
Yeah, real quick. One of our friends, she was trying to use AI for the first time. She wanted to take the graffiti off of the sidewalk behind her and just clean up the back. So she uploaded a photo of herself and it spit back a clean sidewalk. But her face was 2 times longer. Her nose was huge. They made her about 3 shades brighter than she is. It was a mess.
It was hilarious to me. We love you, Jazz.
Love you, Jazz. But yes.
I wanted to bring it back. Y'all know me. I always bring it to our people. And I think we speak up from a place of privilege right now because everyone doesn't have access to AI tools and functionality, especially kids. What about kids in high poverty areas?
These kids don't care about it. No way. We trying to force it. They don't care. They care about Roblox and Fortnite.
But all right, to that point, what they don't even have broadband to play Fortnite. So now they don't have broadband to use AI tools to learn. They're falling behind. We're already falling behind. Now they're falling behind even more because they don't have the right infrastructure at home to even leverage the stuff that we talking about as normal for us.
I think so. On one end, yes. On the other end, there are several stories that we know. You guys might be some of them, right? Of I grew up in a space where none of that was available. And yet here we are today. That I do think a parent that is willing and wants to, they will find a way for their baby to get what they need. Even if it is, hey, I got to download this Khan Academy for my kid is the $5 a month that I got for something. They're going to use it. They'll be on them.
We make a way. We find a way to make a way.
Hey, that is the Black mantra. We will find a way to make a way. Okay.
I did read about a grant that is here in the U.S. It's a federal grant to fund AI-based tutoring for low income, high poverty areas. So at least our government's trying to do something.
Well, they see other countries trying to do something right. So, China is really big on AI and adopting that piece. The only university I've seen do something here in America is Ohio State, where they're introducing it for their class of 2029 in the future, making it mandatory for children to have or kids in college to have AI literacy or fluency before they graduate. But other than that, I think we take so much time to implement something here in America. There's so much red tape around teachers, around government, around funding. And the fact that we're having this conversation now, they probably won't have that roll out until 2030 at the earliest.
Yeah, to your point.
You have to teach teachers.
Dubai just launched their AI curriculum for kids as young as 4. They have to take mandatory 20 hours a year of AI learning classes or whatever.
20 hours a year?
20 hours a year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 30.
But at 4.
Yeah, not even a couple hours a month. An hour and a half a month. China has the same requirement, but it's only 8 hours a year. And I think they're talking about school year, right? So we don't even have anything in the pipeline that I've seen to say our kids need to be required to learn about AI, use AI. Like,
but I think
it's not out
that points to, though, the importance of us not running from this.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we can what if, and it's not going anywhere. So I think it is, how do we focus on making sure our kids are successful in the world that they are going to grow up in, not the world we grew up in, or we wish that they could grow up in, because, it's even that caveat of like, okay, you have social awareness and you're able to be social. What does that matter in a world that's not social?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what good will that do if you can talk to me, but how everybody wants to talk to me is like this or like this or on TikTok and Instagram, then it doesn't matter if you can talk. Like I don't want to talk to you. Shit, I'm not even young. If you call me,
don't call me.
If you don't text me,
yes,
call me if it's something good. But if you just like, hey, what's up? Why did you hit my line? This could have been a text.
I think it's an emergency when people call me. I'm like, why are you calling me?
Exactly. Yeah. So it is, and don't get me wrong. Obviously, I love talking. I love human interaction. But it is just a good example of like, I think I challenge our audience, especially, parents in the audience. I mean, aunties, uncles, anybody. Like, try not to run from certain things, but instead let's challenge ourselves, because I think anybody who's interacted with a kid and has any integral part of their learning and growing up, the key to their success is your patience and your knowledge. That's really what is a good parent. A good parent is patient.
Right.
A good parent is knowledgeable about what their child needs. And so I think it's good to really lean in and start thinking, how can I bring this to my child in a way that can benefit them, instead of assuming the worst.
Yeah, so, I think that bot on timeout after they ask how many apples Johnny needs. How many more ways can you ask that question?
So to your point, right, of social awareness, social interaction, I've been reading about children K through 8, right, elementary, middle school, who are socially interacting with these bots more so than actual humans. So they're developing these unhealthy relationships with AI bots. And it's a thing.
Like, start selling them. Yeah. They're going to be the generation who buys them first.
I know I joke that I say ChatGPT is my girlfriend, but like, they serious about it. Like, yeah, I do, because I talk to her every day.
Anywho, no, but what's interesting, so I did look this up because the reason why is because middle school, so specifically this is a thing that's happening like 6 to 8, because that's a crucial development phase where students transition from that foundational deep thinking to basically things like long-term communication, problem solving. They're battling with like emotional questions and, obviously physical questions for the first time. And unfortunately, I mean, I can't really remember back, but I definitely know if I had a question, the first person I was going to was another one of my dumbass friends that had no experience either. Yeah. Not my parent, not a person of knowledge, not, someone else. So I think it's interesting that, of course, they're running to something that feels unbiased, safe, that could feel safe, that, from their perspective is knowledgeable. And so I'm not surprised. And I think it fits in. And a part of me would prefer that than Bri asking another one of her dumbass friends that don't know shit about emotional intelligence, about like, because the reality is she's not, I pray she will come to me, but she might not.
Yeah.
Well, there was a story about a middle schooler who was using AI, ChatGPT or something. I don't know. I don't want to say it was ChatGPT, but some LLM. And they had got so engulfed with like having an interaction with it. Like they didn't want to talk to other people. They even started having like suicidal thoughts and would ask the bot like, hey, I'm thinking about, doing X, Y, Z. And unfortunately, this was early AI, a couple of years ago. The bot was like, oh, sure, that might be the best route to, unalive yourself,
so
which is like...
There was an issue with Replica. Yeah. That was a big platform that had that issue where outside of that, the reason why the app has been banned in like 17 countries because it started making sexual like suggestions to kids that were going on there. So beyond just like, oh yeah, it probably, hey, if you ain't got nothing else, go ahead, do it, my boy. It's also like engaging in a different way. And so it's definitely a very dangerous, slippery slope.
Right.
It's only as good as the data gets put in there. So now we have kids putting in data into these platforms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Garbage in, garbage out.
It's learning like crazy, but it's like they don't know. How do you decipher a 2-year-old from a 4-year-old from a 9-year-old putting in a prompt or just a random question?
You don't.
So where the guardrails?
So that's a very good point. And that's my next topic about like how do we give our kids the essential skills they need instead of like keeping it away from them. How do we help them embrace it at an early age? Like one suggestion I've been reading about is like prompt engineering basics, right? So just introducing them to what AI is, introducing them what generative AI is, putting in prompts, letting them know like this isn't a human talking to you. There's not somebody on another side of the world on the screen, like on a computer typing to you. This is a computer. It's a, it's a tool. It's not a person. So like prompt engineering basics, like data literacy, just critical thinking, like you said, and ethics, right? Like those are things we should be teaching our kids because we don't want them to learn it from a tool.
I'm not with it. Why give them that though?
Because it's not going anywhere, and we gotta embrace it.
I understand about like again, like let these kids be kids, and like that's not helping them learn to be smarter. We think it is, but it's my personal opinion. I don't think it's helping them be smarter or helping them step with the future. How to write a prompt.
But that would be the same as saying I shouldn't give my kid a scientific calculator. They should just figure it out.
But
or a cell phone.
The long run.
But what do you expect these kids to do with information though? Like again, create a comic book, write a story.
We're preparing them for their future. Being able to write a prompt. We're gonna be when they're adults.
So why even go to school?
I mean, that's a question for another.
That's a good question.
But
why
I do go to school so you
Social.
can not be. Yeah, your reason.
Play sports. You said go play sports.
Well, they ain't doing that either. So.
No. I mean, because today, right, our reality right now is we don't have the tools to actually teach our kids at home. In that way.
Or in the schools.
From AI, basically. And then AI is not prevalent in the schools. I think it's more about those... I don't know if there's a good term for it today, but it's like additional soft skills in my mind that'll help in the long run. And whatever age you decide to introduce it, fine. But I definitely think based on the fact that people are using it or kids are using it for emotional support and not really understanding the concept. I mean, shoot, some adults are using it for emotional support and not understanding, like after a while, like reminding themselves, this is just programming, right? This is not a person. That I think I would almost argue the earlier you introduce it as what it should be viewed as, the better off you are. I think a lot of probably the problem is the kids are getting introduced at that point of I'm seeking emotional outsourcing.
Yeah. And I think we also, to answer your question of like, why would we do that? Like their future workforce depends on it. When they if they go to college, when they get out of school, if they don't have those tools of knowing how to use generative AI or know what machine learning is, they're going to be behind, but they're going to be doing the job that they don't want to do. So if you start teaching them earlier, that enables them to get more use of it and have a better understanding for their future career, for their future schooling, whatever they want to do with their life. You're preparing them for their future is essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we just got to have a discernment around what we introduce and when we introduce it. Again, is trusting that machine or that information behind this cloud, right, of what's actually real, what's true. Again, the data can come out bad. We've all had experiences where the information is bad. We spoke about it before. So there's always a chance of misinformation. And I think for us, what we see misinformation is YouTube. Everybody on YouTube talking. Everybody's an expert at this. And they're doctors. Dr. Love was in there giving women. So it's so many ways to do different things. Yeah. And I just feel like it's exploded now, and we're giving kids way more tools to do way more with. And I just think we're going to uncharted territories, and I just see more red flags than anything else for our starting it too early. Again, let them be mature, let them get older, become a little bit more mature, then address it, but not at a.
So what's the right age you feel? Just based on today's.
I feel like, honestly, I
environment.
go back to, I didn't get a cell phone until I was in 10th grade. I'll say somewhere in high school.
But did you not get a cell phone until you were in 10th grade? Because
No, it wasn't a financial thing. It was because that's where.
No.
Yeah.
Because they weren't readily available. Like, I just also think like
it was widely used. Cell phones.
Not by kids though.
Phones,
but yeah, because we didn't have the capability to do more than talk on our cell phones, text. You know, basically what I'm saying is like, it's a different time to compare to, because my daughter's best friend has a cell phone. She is 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
7.
Oh, wow.
And that is more normal. It's still a little younger, but I'm saying like the culture around it. Like, I didn't think to ask for a cell phone. I got a cell phone more out of necessity than like wanting a cell phone.
Their cell phones aren't cell phones. Their cell phones
are computers.
Our Game Gears, our Game Boys.
Yeah.
They use it as a gaming tool, not from a get on Instagram, get on TikTok.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's what the difference is.
So I guess it's again that weird or interesting game of we want to put our life scenario into this world right now, but it's not the same. And it makes it really hard to see. So to your answer, I've already decided, like, for me, I can't do elementary school. Having somebody K through 5 have a phone, it feels crazy to me. And then for me, I would say I probably would give Bri a phone in maybe like middle school.
Okay.
But I would be like, you're going to get clown though. Like, if you want a phone, you're going to get clown, because I'm not buying you an iPhone. I'm not buying you a phone that acts as a computer. I'm buying you a phone because, people are weird. Yeah, I want to be able to know where you're at, and I want to be able to talk to you. I'm okay with you being able to communicate with your friends, because we don't have a house phone, and I don't want these kids calling my line. So you definitely need to have a way to communicate and be able to go, schedule your own little play dates and talk to me. But the whole access to the world on that phone, absolutely not. So I think there are ways that you can temper into it. But again, I think that always is dependent on the parent, because we say, you can't have it. It leads down a slippery slope. We knew the bad kid in every grade that parents did not give a damn about what they were doing. They were running the streets, doing all sorts of stuff, and they ain't have technology. You know what I mean? So I do also feel like that's just something that will transcend any time, any generation, any movement of technology. But I think it's important for us, for listeners, for people in our circle to understand, like, how do you bring something more positive to that? So I will kind of gear us more into, how do we then talk equity? Like, how can we kind of share certain things for our audience so that way they can start self-exploring? So I did some research. And so I do want to list out free and low-cost AI learning platforms for kids, because to your point, sometimes it is like you might not have access, but it also might be you just don't know. So some free, actually all of these are free. Of course, with Conmigo, it just depends on how advanced you want to get. But there's Khan Academy, Google's Teachable Machine. You have Code.org's AI and machine learning module. There's Tinker, Quick Draw by Google, and Scratch with GPT add-on. All of those have various things, but overall, why it's good, they'll guide through teacher-approved prompts that encourage critical thinking. They have easy visual interfaces to actually introduce them into machine learning. So think of it as literally machine learning for dummies type of thing, but in a kid version, so they can actually digest what it is. Focusing on creativity and logic for the kids, as well as just fun, right? Gamifying things for kids is always a wonderful way to actually get them to learn.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I like that. So as we wrap, we want to talk about how it's out there for all of our kids to have access to, but we want to ease them into it or not let them use it until a certain age. We want to also incorporate social activities into their lifestyle, because we see the wave coming of them being less social than they are now. based on being on, utilizing
YouTube
AI and YouTube and streams. Like they sit in front of streams for 5-6 hours now. I'm like, wow. So what other takeaways we got before we close out?
I'm definitely along with you guys saying, encourage students, encourage parents, encourage yourselves to learn AI, to learn different tools that are out there, and just be responsible with it, and just know when to introduce it for yourself and for your families. But to your point, it is here to stay. It's started being rolled out globally, and next is going to be another planet. But yeah, and that's a whole other topic. But yeah, just be aware and just set your boundaries.
Yeah. And then my last tip is for parents, if ever you're confused or you want to look into apps, tools, there's Common Sense Media. It's actually a great way for you to review apps to see what tools are there, also what access people can have and what access not just your kids can have to the world, but how the world can have access to your kids through those platforms. So I always encourage people, don't run away, just be curious, continue to look things up and actually, put the work in to serve yourself and your children well.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we will see y'all next week.
All right.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Love y'all.
Bye. Bye.